recently came across a video series by the comedian John Christ called Undercover Pastor. Uh, John goes undercover, he pretends to be a pastor and goes undercover at his church and meets with three of his different leaders of areas of ministry before he finally reveals who he is. Let's just say that it's a pretty funny video series. All three episodes made me laugh. Looking at the functions of church and ministry, you you can get a good laugh out of it. And I hope that if anyone was to watch it, they just take it as a funny thing. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll be the next undercover pastor. Even though we can make light of how a church functions and how it's led and its ministries and things like that, one thing that we don't want to joke about is the seriousness of the transformation process that you and I are going through of becoming who God designed us to become. Because this process is not about somebody bad becoming good. This is about somebody dead becoming alive. Because sin isn't bad. Sin is deadly. It's not that sin makes someone who is good bad. Sin makes somebody dead in their sins. And so I want you to realize that this is a serious process that we're going through. And it's just to realize that we believe the gospel message because the gospel message makes us go from dead to alive. Just like the caterpillar we've been talking about goes from caterpillar to butterfly, a true metamorphosis and transformation. And because this process is so serious, we actually need others to help us along this process. This is why we need the church. Remember, the church is that place that should protect us, just like the chrysalis was the place of protection for the butterfly in its transformation. We need each other. We can't do life alone. We can't do this transformation alone. We need to help each other in our transformation journey together. No one was designed to do life alone. And no one was designed to become who all that God designed them to become alone. It reminds me of the journey my family went on to transform or remodel the main level of our house. We didn't do that alone. We actually hired contractors who helped make that happen. And then when there was this time where, the cost got to a level that we had to stop, we actually called on friends in our church to help us finish the transformation process in a few of the areas, and even had a few friends end up helping us get new flooring to complete the remodel and the transformation. And we love that transformation, and all we realized it was only possible because we had others help us make that happen. And this is the final piece of the journey to becoming, is you need others to help you. And this is why Paul actually talks about Galatians chapter 6. He opens Galatians chapter 6 and lets us know this. It says this in verse 2 and 3. Share each other's burdens, and in this way obey the law of Christ. If you think you are too important to help someone, you are only fooling yourself. You are not that important. In other words, you and I need each other. We're not supposed to do this alone. We need one another to become all that God designed us to become. We need one another to go through the transformation process. It tells us to carry each other's burdens. Now, that doesn't mean literally that I'm going to take your burdens and put them on my back, and you take my burdens and you're going to put them on your back. It means that we're here to help lighten each other's load. It is to learn how to help each other because we've all gone through things and carried burdens that are similar to one another. And so we learn how to help each other in that process. And even if anything, we're helping take the load off and hand the load to Jesus together. And we do that by comforting one another. And we comfort one another because we know that we've gone through very similar things together. Maybe this is why Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 1 says this in verses 3 and 4. All praise to God, the source of all comfort. He comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort others. When they are troubled, we will be able to give them the same comfort God has given us. This partnership between you and me isn't a two-dimensional partnership, though. It's actually a three-dimensional partnership because you and I are going through this process, not just together, but with God. God is helping us through this process. We're to interact with each other and with God. And when we know that we're interacting with God and each other, then it makes us want to do this process even better to help each other, because God is in that process. God is showing you you need to be part of someone else's transformation process, not just your own process. We help each other make this transformation complete. And when you help others, you actually receive help yourself. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7 says, "Don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. You will always harvest what you plant." We really do reap what we sow. So if we plant help in someone else's transformation process, we will receive help in our own transformation process. So what do you plant in others? Realize that if you help others through their transformation process, you're planting that into their life, which means you're going to reap, you're going to receive help in your own transformation process. And maybe that's why Jesus shared what we've come to know as the golden rule in Matthew chapter 7, verse 12. Do to others what you would have them do to you. I recently read an article that actually told us not only is there a golden rule, but there's a golden result. And that's that people will treat you the way that you usually treat them. Now, we know that that's not always the case, but I think that's going to be the case more often than not. This team up with others can only happen when you plant yourself somewhere. This is why, or I guess people will ask us why did we come to New Life 15 years ago? Well, we came not just to pastor a church, but to plant ourselves, to root ourselves into a community in Marion, Grant County, and to make New Life the church we call home. And I think this decision to plant ourselves here in Marion, to plant ourselves in Grant County, to plant ourselves at New Life, and to go through a transformation process ourselves with everyone who calls New Life home has actually allowed us to help others go through transformation process themselves, to go from their own becoming to who they were to who they are now, to go through that whole journey together, and then to actually send some of them out to go and do transformation in other places of the United States and the world and Indiana and everywhere else. It's a beautiful thing to see when you plant yourself somewhere and you help others transform, how you get transformed, and then you get to see others transformed from the others that you've helped transform. It's worth the journey of doing this together. I know, if we're honest, that this journey of becoming is hard work. And we add to the hard work when we help others in their own becoming journey, their own transformation process. But I gotta tell you, like I just shared, this journey, this process, there's a reward to it. There's a reward to journeying with others and transforming with others. And Paul actually shares this journey that if we don't give up, there is a reward. And so let me read that to you. Galatians 6, 9, and 10 says, "So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially those in the family of faith." The reward is a harvest. It's a harvest of blessing. It's a harvest a harvest is actually a multiplied effect that happens from what you plant. And so when you help others in their transformation, you actually see a multiplied effect of your help of transforming someone else and your own transformation that takes place. It's a beautiful thing. That's why we want to plant ourselves in a place we can call home. That's why we want to become what God has designed us to become together. And please notice what Paul says at the end there. He says, especially the family of faith. So this transformation, it's so much better and so much more enjoyable when you do it with people who are on a similar journey with you. And this journey of becoming all God designed us to become is a journey I am glad I can go on with you. A journey that I'm glad you've gone on with those in your life group. A journey that I want you to continue to go on. But don't go on alone. Do it with others. Become together. Near the end of Paul's letter, he makes it clear what matters most. In Galatians 6, verse 15. What counts is whether we have been transformed into a new creation. Now, while the word metamorphosis is not used here in Galatians chapter 6, verse 15, like it is in Romans 12:2, it is still very clear in that all the translations of this verse are talking about something old being made new. Much like 2 Corinthians 5:17 says that the old is gone and a new life has begun, a new creation. And so it's the same thing, just like a caterpillar is transformed into a butterfly. So what matters most to you and to me is that we go through our same metamorphosis, we go through our same transformation of becoming who God designed us to become, from who we were to who He wants us to become. May this be said of your transformation. May this be said of your journey to becoming.